Groundbreaking has finally been announced. How do I feel about it? Today on Locked On A's.
You are Locked On A's, your daily podcast on the Athletics, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Booney, one name, all passion. Thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen of the day. I'm from the Bay Area, and I've been a diehard A's fan since '81. This isn't just another A's podcast. This is the most informative and insightful show on the A's, period. We cover the A's every single day, breaking down games, delivering the latest team news, and giving you deep, thoughtful analysis you will not find anywhere else. If it's happening in Sacramento or Vegas, we got you covered. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. And please hit that subscribe button wherever you are following the show. Being a fan of sports is supposed to be simple. It's a place where people find joy, escape, and community. Whether your team is winning or rebuilding, there's comfort in knowing that for a few hours, you are part of something bigger than yourself. But for A's fans, that connection has been fractured. The team's move to Las Vegas hasn't felt like a unifying moment. The politics, the hypocrisy is something that has played its way into the saga, and it has been ugly. For over a year, media voices, both national and local, have told us this move was not going to happen. Stadium renderings were called fake. Timelines were laughed off. Insiders swore the votes weren't there. And yet, here we are. The A's have officially announced the groundbreaking for their Las Vegas stadium on June 23rd at 8 a.m. So where are the retractions? Where's the accountability? The media is one of the only industries where being consistently wrong still pays. You can blow the story completely and still keep the mic, the paycheck, and the audience. Truth is optional. And as long as the narrative feeds the clicks. So how do I feel? Am I ready to spike the football and scream, "I told you so"? I really thought I would. Sure, the critics have been wrong, but were they really trying to be right? This isn't just about proving critics wrong. It's about exposing the broken system that allowed a saga this messy to be told so sloppily. Fans deserve better. Whether you are still riding with the A's or feel burnt beyond repair, the least we should expect is honesty. And in a media landscape where being loud matters more than being right, this groundbreaking isn't just about a ballpark. It's about setting the record straight. This episode is brought to you in part by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. When I embarked on this wild roller coaster of covering the A's and doing this podcast, I had no idea I'd be stepping into a hornet's nest of fandom, rage, and irrationality. My first episode way back on October 21st was titled "The Truth of Moneyball." Now, before you start sharpening your pitchforks, let me clarify. I believe Moneyball is a myth. Yes, I said it. A manufactured fairy tale designed to give owners an excuse to be cheap and general managers a way to inflate their own importance. It's a convenient narrative that fans cling to like a life raft, but I dared to challenge it. And oh boy, did Oakland fans lose their collective minds. They came at me with ferocity and of 1,000 angry tweets, hurling insults and slurs like they were auditioning for a Quentin Tarantino movie. Did it faze me? Hardly. If anything, it confirmed that I'd struck a nerve. Truth hurts. Then came my Halloween episode. Goodbye, Vegas. Hello, Sacramento. A question mark, mind you. not a declaration, just a thought experiment. But nuance is apparently lost on some people. Once again, I was dragged through the mud by Oakland fans who accused me of clickbait and worse. Four-letter words flew like confetti at a New Year's Eve party. Do these people ever take a breath? What's up, flea market? Heard the good news earlier. Did a fist pump reading it. The Oakland fans said this day would never come, and Fisher wouldn't pay a dime for this stadium. They can live in their echo chambers. Yeah. At this point, I was starting to think the stadium move to Vegas was nothing more than a mirage. Hence the episode, The Desert Mirage, where I at first did not believe the stadium was going to happen. And I based that on a couple things. Fisher shopping a valuation of much higher than it was actually worth at the time. We didn't hear anything about financing at that particular time. US Bank and Goldman Sachs were not even introduced. If Fisher was going in on it alone, I had a question whether he had enough funds to cover his side of it. This time, Vegas fans turned their frustration towards me. Considering my predecessors on the show were all anti-Vegas, or at least highly skeptical of the move, I understood their frustration. I will say this: Vegas fans were open to a discussion, a dialogue, where I learned and I appreciated where they came from. They came at me with facts, not anger, not frustration, but education, and that was appreciated. Then came November 1, the day everything changed. John Fisher announced that his family would be involved in paying for the new stadium, that Goldman Sachs and US Bank had conditionally approved the financing. As someone with over 25 years in banking and financing, I knew what this meant. The move was happening. It was a no-brainer. Period. End of story. So I did what any rational person would do. I adjusted my stance and released an episode titled From Skeptic to Believer. Now, let me be clear. I wasn't suddenly pro-Fisher or cheerleading for the move. I just recognized reality when I saw it. But apparently, acknowledging facts is a cardinal sin in the eyes of Oakland fans. One Vegas fan, I still remember this, posted on social media about focusing on baseball. And I replied with two simple words: well said. Well said. That was enough to launch an unfollow campaign against me by Oakland fans, complete with hate messages and even a death threat. A death threat over baseball. I try to engage these people in dialogue. I invited them onto my show to discuss their grievances like adults. Their response? Mockery on social media and the creation of a fake account called Locked On Ass. Honestly, I was flattered by the effort. It's not every day you inspire such creative hostility. Meanwhile, the usual suspects, the Brody Brazils, the Damon Amendolas, the Damon Bruces, the Vital Vegases, continued their crusade against Fisher and the A's ownership. They paraded Oakland Mayor Shang Tao onto their shows like she was Joan of Arc fighting the evil billionaire empire. And for a while, I bought into it. The narrative was irresistible. Scrappy mayor versus the greedy billionaire. I loved it. But then cracks started to show. Mayor Tao was indicted. And all of a sudden, Brody and the two Ds didn't talk about their pal anymore. No one did. I began to notice that these shows never featured anyone with an opposing point of view. When I reached out to offer a different perspective, I was either ignored or met with profanity-laced rejections. Classy, right? In contrast, I've had productive conversations with people who disagree with me, like KP, who you've seen on the show many times, Sully, who's the host of Locked On MLB. And while we disagree on this topic, we were able to understand the value of dialogue. But others, not so much. Former hosts like Wayne Coy took cheap shots at me. Jason Burke flat out ghosted a scheduled appearance, and because he didn't like my views or how I presented them. Stefan, I hate Fisher and think what he has done to the A's is terrible, but people just need to accept Vegas and it's happening. I agree with you, Stefan. We can only control what we can control. We can't control what the A's are doing, what Fisher is doing. One of the biggest mistakes with regard to sports and sports franchises is that they are looked at as some sort of community outreach program, something that's supposed to serve the public, when they are as profiteering as any other big business out there. Back to my point, I couldn't help but wonder, have these people gotten anything right? Or are they just feeding their audience what they want to hear? Here's the thing. I'm not here to pander or play favorites. I'm here to tell it like it is. Whether you like it or not. If that makes me unpopular, so be it. But let's not pretend that clinging to comforting myths or vilifying those who challenge them is going to solve anything. The A's are moving to Vegas. Deal with it. And while you are at it, maybe take a deep breath and remember that this is just baseball. So go ahead, Oakland fans, keep hurling your insults and creating fake accounts about me. It only proves one thing. I'm living rent-free in your heads. And honestly, that's fine by me. Up next, let's go over the media's batting average in this saga. Doubt it's even at the Mendoza line. See you in a minute. All right, if you are in the trades and you are still running around to 10 different stores just to get what you need, what are you doing? There's a better way. It's called SupplyHouse.com, and it's built just for you. Whether you are a plumbing pro, HVAC wizard, or electrical expert, SupplyHouse is your online hookup for getting the job done without wasting your time or your gas money. Their website is so easy to use. It's basically the power tool of online supply ordering. It's packed with resources, how-tos, and the newest product drops. And with over 200,000 parts from more than 400 top brands, if they don't have it, does it even exist? Coast-to-coast delivery? Check. Fast shipping? Check. That one fitting you swore nobody had in stock? Also check. Need help? SupplyHouse doesn't throw you into a phone maze of robotic nonsense. You get a real person, an actual human who knows their stuff and won't read off a script like it's their first day on earth. And if you are a trade pro, and you know you are, you've got to check out their Trade Master program. It's free, it's baller, and it gets you the VIP treatment. Dedicated phone line, free shipping, discounts on every single order. Tens of thousands of pros are already in. Don't be the last one to the job site. So here's what you do. Go to supplyhouse.com/TM to join the Trade Master program right now. Then use promo code SH5. That's SH5 to get 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Stop hauling. Start clicking. Get back to building. Ladies and gentlemen, gather around as we discuss the media's batting average during this saga. You guys complain about Seth Brown and Gio Urshela. The media has nothing on them. The absurd claims and baseless arguments against the A's move to Las Vegas. The critics are loud, but their facts are flimsy. It's time to set the record straight with a dose of reality and a little bit of wit. Buckle up because this is going to be a ride. First, let's start with myth number one. Bally's financial problem. Try again. Let's start with one of the most laughable claims. Bally's alleged financial woes are supposedly derailing the A's ballpark development. Spoiler alert, Bally's isn't even funding the ballpark. That's right, folks. Bally's role is to develop the surrounding infrastructure, including a hotel and resort. The stadium itself, completely different story entirely. And for those clinging to the outdated financial gossip, Bally's was acquired by a hedge fund, Standard General, for a cool $4.6 billion in February 2025. Sue Kim, managing partner of Standard General, made it crystal clear that the acquisition is about growth and long-term investment. So let's put this narrative to bed, shall we? Secondly, the public is paying for John Fisher's stadium. Wrong again. The classic rallying cry of the uninformed. The public is footing the bill, except they're not. Here's how it works. Try to keep up. John Fisher is personally contributing over $1 billion to the stadium project. The remaining funding comes from a tax district financing mechanism, which I have covered in past shows, which means taxes generated within the stadium district, pay back the bonds. Here's the kicker. If you don't go to the stadium or spend money there, you're not paying a dime for it. Live next door and never attend a game, guess what? You're off the hook. This isn't some sneaky tax hike. It's a targeted, self-sustaining system. Compare that to the other recent projects, like New York's $850 million subsidy for the Buffalo Bills, or Tennessee's $1.2 billion allocation for the Titans' new stadium. The A's deal is practically a bargain. Las Vegas lacks long-term viability is another one I've heard. Laughable. Critics love to paint Las Vegas as some economic mirage. But let's look at the facts. Businesses are pouring in billions into the city. MGM Grand is undergoing a $300 million remodel. Caesars Entertainment is investing nearly $1 billion to modernize its properties. And the Mirage is transforming into the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino with a guitar hotel centerpiece. Still not convinced? Sports tourism, we've talked about this on many occasions, is booming in Las Vegas. Executives across the strip are singing its praises as a major growth driver. Demand is still great, says one industry insider. And why wouldn't it be? Las Vegas has become a global destination for sports fans, gamblers, and thrill seekers alike. The A's Stadium will only amplify that. Daniel, Vegas is going to be a huge disappointment. Watch it play out. Okay, we will see. It may be, but they are going. You might be right, Daniel. We don't know. Hey, Jesus, go A's. That's what it's about right there. Another myth. Education funds diverted, a baseless fantasy. This claim is perhaps the most ridiculous of them all, that funding for the A's Stadium will somehow take money away from education. Not only is there zero evidence to support this, but Clark County Commissioner Jim Gibson explicitly stated that SB 1 would not take a dime from education. In fact, 2023 marked a historic year for education funding in Nevada, with the largest education budget in state history being passed. The Nevada Department of Education celebrated numerous legislative accomplishments that year, proving that education and economic growth can coexist. For those still clinging to this myth, let me spell it out. Major event centers like Allegiant have increased funding for schools, police, firefighters, and social services by generating additional revenue. The A's Stadium will follow suit. Here's another myth for you guys. Parking panic. Much ado about nothing. Finally, let's address the parking hysteria. Critics are up in arms over the supposed lack of parking spaces at the new stadium. 2,470 spaces instead of the 7,500 they claim are required, which is true. According to Clark County, that is what was required for the stadium. But here's the thing. Clark County waived this requirement because, brace yourselves, it doesn't actually matter. Las Vegas is designed for mass transit, ride shares, and walkability. This isn't some suburban strip mall where everyone drives their own car. The county knows this, which is why they approve the waiver. So let's stop pretending this is an issue when it clearly isn't. Here's another good one. My man Vital Vegas. Fisher will be hit with capital gains tax in order to pay for the stadium. This alone is what initially had me thinking something's wrong here. If somebody who has as many followers as Vital Vegas and people are listening to like the gospel, hey, I did, is uneducated to that level where he makes just such a dumb claim, where anybody can simply look that up themselves, Google it. It takes 3 minutes to do so. You can get the answers. That's what initially got me. And no, that's not what happens. That's not how individuals pay for stadiums or large costs such as this. They use things called an S block. I've talked about it before. A secured back line of credit, or a similar instruments where you're borrowing against your portfolio to pay for it. Elon did that when he bought X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Steve Ballmer did that when he bought the Clippers. This is no different here, man. Having that type of take is just absolutely beyond ridiculous. The critics are running on empty. The opposition to the A's Las Vegas Stadium is built on a foundation of misinformation and fear-mongering, from Bally's supposed financial woes to baseless claims about education, funding, and parking shortages. It's clear that these arguments don't hold water. The reality is simple. This stadium is a win for Las Vegas, a win for baseball fans, and a win for economic growth. So, to all the naysayers out there, sit down, take notes, and maybe do some research next time. The A's are coming to Vegas, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Deal with it. I'll be right back with my conclusion, and really, how do I feel about this? Is it time to point my finger at all the critics? How do I feel? Up next. Ever open your banking app and think, wait, who stole all my money? You scroll through the charges. $17 for a fancy coffee, $42 on late night tacos, $68 on, wait, did I really order 3 pairs of the same sweatpants? Yeah, it happens fast. That's why you need Monarch Money, your very own CFO who doesn't wear a suit or judge your midnight Amazon splurges. It gives you a full 360-degree view of your finances so you can stop wondering where your money went and start telling it where to go. But here's the kicker. Monarch isn't just another budgeting app. This is your personal financial command center. Track all your accounts, investments, and every last impulse buy in one place. It's like mission control, but for your wallet. Personal examples? Oh yeah, absolutely. When I started using Monarch, I found out I was spending more on food delivery than groceries. Now I budget smarter, eat better, and save more without giving up that occasional treat. And instead of hopping between 6 different apps just to check my balance or investments, Monarch brings it all together. Bank accounts, credit cards, retirement goals, even that one account you always forget the password to. Got a partner? Monarch makes money talks way less awkward. You can track joint expenses and keep personal stuff private. No more side eyes over mystery charges or accidental sneaker purchases. So if you are ready to stop winging it and actually take control of your finances, Monarch Money is where you start. And right now, you can get 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Jerry, y'all can say what you want about Fisher, but I still contend that if the city of Oakland had its act together, none of this would be happening. Enjoy your ballers. Yeah, I agree with you, Jerry. 100%. City of Oakland, We could say what percentage or how much or 100% they had to do with it, all 50%, whatever it may be. We could go round and round on that, but they have definitely had something to do with it. That's with history, right? City of Oakland's had problems for decades. This is nothing new. So I 100% agree with you. With regard to how I feel about the groundbreaking, is this time for me to, hey, point my finger, I told you so? I'll be honest with you guys. I feel numb. I heard the announcement. I didn't feel anything. I simply don't care. Not in the sense that I don't care that baseball's going to Vegas. I'm extremely excited about it. It's just once you dig in after a certain amount of time and you hear the critics talking about their points and how baseless it was, I knew it was happening months ago. So we did a big mistake, and I did a big mistake myself. I regret talking about the stadium and the politics about this as much as I have. I regret engaging as much as I have with regard to it. The biggest mistake you can make, and when you are part of the problem, is when you bring politics into sports. A lot of people say, well, Fisher brought the politics. MLB did it. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. MLB and the Oakland A's, the Las Vegas A's, the Sacramento A's, whatever you want to call them, they're a private organization. They're a corporation. They are looking to turn a profit, which takes me to the hypocrisy of this whole thing. We talk about the move to Sacramento and what a disaster that's been. It hasn't been great. No matter how you twist it, how you look at it, it hasn't been great. But do you guys realize that the cost to stay at the stadium, to stay at the Coliseum, would have cost the A's anywhere between 50 and 60 million over a 3-year period of time? What individual, which includes operating expenses, what business owner in their right mind does that? And here's the crazy part. Here's the nutty part. If I go to anybody, including anybody watching today, watching later, or not watching at all, and how they conduct their own business, they would not even come close to making that type of decision. The hypocrisy in this whole thing is nutty. We look at John Fisher as a billionaire and say, hey, he's a billionaire. He can afford it. But making that decision is a bad business move. Yeah. Do I like the move to Sacramento and what's it turned into? No. Am I surprised by it? 100%. Do I wish it was different? Sure. Is there anything I can do about it? No. But when we continue to try to pass the blame to somebody, we forget that the person leading that negotiation is federally indicted for stealing from the city of Oakland. However you want to call stealing, right? Allegedly. We don't talk about 50 to $60 million and what it would have cost the A's to stay at the Coliseum. You don't hear that in the national media. You just hear about a team picking up and leaving and playing at a minor league ballpark. You don't hear about the other stuff. You know, it was interesting. We were doing a Locked On MLB game night a couple weeks ago. And before we went and started recording, I asked, and you got to remember all the Locked On hosts across the country. I go, how many of you guys know and realize, and I thought it was a given, that the individual leading the negotiations for the A's lease in Oakland was federally indicted? There was about 10 people. You want to guess at how many people knew that the mayor was federally indicted on charges? 0. They weren't aware of that. Doesn't that change somebody's opinion on what they feel of it? So no, as far as For me, at the very beginning, and how it should be for all of us, it should be about baseball. Jerry, you talked about the ballers. Hey, I hope the ballers do great. I hope the Roots do great, and I hope every sports organization at any level succeed, because at the end of the day, it's about young individuals trying to make a life for themselves, try to make a career for themselves, and trying to advance. And the last thing they need is politics getting in the way of that. And there's no doubt I did my part in making that bad, but so's a lot of everybody else. We got to stop being so darn hypocritical and start making decisions and being put in the other person's shoes as if we were the individual making that decision. Anyway, guys, hey, appreciate you guys tuning in. I will be around post-game for the A's for something that really counts, right? A's, Angels, big game tonight, 6:38, first pitch. Let's get this one. We're not out of it yet. I didn't hear no bell, but groundbreaking, 23rd, June, 8 a.m. Take care, guys. You made the right call by making Locked On A's your first listen. Championship mindset, elite taste. Now, for your second listen, it's time to hit the big stage with Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. It's like the MLB version of Red Zone, except instead of touchdowns, you're getting bombs, bat flips, and bullpen meltdowns from across the league. You will get local experts breaking it all down with that home team edge, but on a national scale. No fluff, no filler, just real talk from people who actually watch the games. So after you roll with us, level up with Locked On MLB Game Night. Find it on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.